Hello and welcome to yet another discussion this evening as the PCEA Church marks 40 years or celebrates 40 years of clergy women in ministry. My name is Aida Munzati and I'm going to take you through this conversation. Remember, we are coming to you live on all our social media pages on Facebook and YouTube. We are live and our social media name right there is CAC TV Kenya. On Twitter is CACTV_Kenya and our SMS number is 0111220044. Feel free to send in your questions as well as comments and we'll be very glad to read them, and my panel in studio this night will be very glad to answer each and every question that you have. Remember, the Presbyterian Church of East Africa is celebrating 40 years since the first woman minister was ordained, that is in 1982. So in studio, I'm being joined by wonderful ladies who are also ministers of Christ. So we'll just introduce ourselves from my far right as we come to my near right.
Praise the Lord, viewers. My name is Nancy Modoni Shaure from Kembwine Presbytery, Rocho East Parish, and I'm happy to be here to talk about the 40 years of celebration.
Great.
Thank you.
Good evening, viewers. My name is Mary Wajikomoriuki. Christ is the Lord of my soul. I serve in Kiambu Presbytery, Banana Parish. I'm happy to be here.
Modoni Wampoingari, a minister of Word and Sacrament, Kiamatare Presbytery, Karia Parish. By the grace of God, I'm saved this evening.
Hello viewers, I'm Nancy Wamboi Kamau, born again, and I'm serving in PCA Gesha Presbytery, PCA Red Hill Parish. I'm happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Right, and we are very glad to and happy, of course, to have you in studio. And I'm very sure that our audience, who are also your people from the Presbyterian Church, are also looking forward to learn from you as well as just understand what exactly marking 40 years in the church is. So we'll start with you, Reverend Gary. When we are marking, or when the church is celebrating 40 years, what exactly does that mean for the church, and what does it mean for the women ministry?
Well, 40 years is a number that is very significant. In the Bible, you find everything 40 years. 40 years in the wilderness. Jesus went on hunger strike for 40 years. Moses stayed with father-in-law for 40 years. So 40 years is a very significant number, and it will bring completion. So when we celebrate 40 years, we are celebrating the act of God for those 40 years. What has God been doing to the Presbyterian Church? It's not all about women. It's about the church, and it's the milestone it has taken. You know, one step at a time, getting to 40 years. It is a time to celebrate the completion of God's work within the Presbyterian Church as we begin another chapter in the life of the minister of women in the church.
So to you, as you put it, you're celebrating a milestone.
Yes.
So what will you say are some of the milestones that the church has achieved?
The milestones that you have achieved is that the first lady was ordained in 1982, and in between, many of us has been ordained, and as she has talked about 40 years, it also signifies a test, trial, and judgment. Meaning, in the 40 years, the women ministry has been tried, tested, and now it can be judged. And to be sure, it is working, and it is helping the church to relate with both men and women, and also to have mentors on side of men and also women. Yeah,
that is great. And now to you, Reverend Nancy.
Yes.
Many people will ask, why is the church marking 40 years and not necessarily the 50 years that people will be thinking of? Probably, why not wait for the remaining 10 years for you to celebrate?
I want to believe 40 years, as my sister said, is is a milestone because it's a time that the Lord has opened for the church and has inspired those that came up with a time of celebration. And I want to believe, because 40 is a time of provision, a time that you have gone under training and you are qualified. Mm-hmm. So church is coming to celebrate something that God inspired in even the men that were serving then as the ministers. And it went through the General Assembly, and it was allowed that women can be able to serve. And it has proved true. So we are coming to say, this is what the Lord is telling us. This is what the Lord has done. Like, an example of when Peter was, saw a vision, and, he saw a seat full of many animals, and he was saying that these ones are unclean. I cannot be able to eat this as a Jew. And the Lord told him, what he has called clean, he's supposed to be clean and not unclean. And so from there was a break, there was a way of the Gentiles coming across. So I want to believe church is celebrating that women have made it, and they can minister in the church. And it's not just about women, it's about the church. It's about what women are doing in the ministry. And so we celebrate as a church because the Lord has brought something new, and we have seen it has survived. Yes, it has passed through the test. The provision time has come to an end, and so a time of celebrating. Not 50, but 40.
40, indeed. And I think most of your sentiments have just echoed other lady ministers from the documentary that will keep on airing throughout the week on CAC TV. I think it's just the same sentiments that you share with your fellow lady ministers as well. So let's now get to personal 40 years. Reverend Nancy, just share with us, probably there is the ordination, we have the licensing. When would you say you as a reverend received that calling that you wanted now to serve the Lord?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start by saying that it has been difficult to really define what is a call, where it begins and even where it ends. Because I think call to serve God, it comes gradually as you grow up. And at a certain time, it matures. And when it matures, that is when now you start expressing the call, what you are feeling, what God is telling you to do. And I want to give an example of how my call came or started. One, I was born in a Christian family, therefore I grew in the church and running all the Christian morals through my parents and also my church leaders. And then when I was still growing up and also in church school, in fact, the training institute for the Presbyterian ministers happened to be in my parish. That was formerly Mogoga parish. And therefore, the ministers who are training there, they used to come in our congregations. They used to sing joyfully. They used to preach to us. They used even to teach us in church school. And therefore, it's like I admired. And let me tell you, my call was confirmed when the late very Reverend Crispus Kiongo laid hands on me when I was getting confirmed. And that's the time I felt that I think it is good to serve God. And so it's like I kept on praying that, Lord, one day I would like to serve you as a minister. And therefore a time came and I told my parents, I was still in college, but I told my parents, I want to serve God. I told my principal, I want to serve God. But they all spoke in one voice. They told me, first, finish the courses that you are doing. And then after that, you join the service to God. And therefore, I waited, I did my exams, and actually I got a job. I worked for a secondary school as a clerk. And after that, the vacancies arose for evangelists. And actually I applied. And I started interviews from my local church committee. I passed. I was forwarded to the parish. I passed. And I started as an evangelist. When I was in that course of evangelism, actually another vacancy arose that PCA wanted to train sisters. I applied. I started again the interviews from the LCC to the session, to the presbytery, to the training committee, and I passed. And therefore, I found myself training in theology. That was back in 1989. And after 1 year course, that was certificate course in the sisterhood ministry, we were enrolled in theology, now the complete theology training. And I was trained, I graduated with a diploma, and I was posted to Kibwest to serve. And after 15 years down the line, I felt that my calling is not complete. There's something else that God is calling me for and to do. And that's when I applied for ordained ministry, and I was told that you have passed. I was posted for my practicals in Zoya Parish, that was Western Presbytery by then, and I started serving God in the ordained ministry. I got ordained I got licensed on 16th October 2005. I was ordained in the same year, that was 31st October, and by 5th November, I had reported to my first parish, that was Runyenjes Neden area. So that is the progress of my call. Yes.
All right, and as you put it, it's not a one-day thing. Calling is actually a process, day by day.
Yes.
And I can see Reverend Gary agreeing. So, Rep, to you now.
Yes.
See, someone that is being ordained today, or someone that is being ordained in this era of ours,
Yes.
won't necessarily just go through probably the challenges that you went through.
Yes.
From the documentary, we hear the other lady ministers saying that we have some people like you, Reverend Lucy actually mentioned you, that you cleared the path for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of the challenges that lady ministers face probably in your generation, even after ordination and even before ordination?
Well, before ordination, either you can imagine that you are living in a patriarchal society where a woman is supposed to be silent, listen, and not give any authority. So when we joined, like when I was joining, I already knew there is a Reverend Nyambura whom I had not seen, but I knew there was. And so when we started, we were being looked upon like, why are you coming? And you are not welcomed here. This is a male club, and you are trying to penetrate into a male club. So one of the things is that even your counterpart, the men, they rejected you. We were openly rejected. Because I remember the first time I was posted, I was posted to Tomotomo Presbytery, which is a mission area. And the person who brought the letter, by then you know we didn't have this digital, where the letters are arriving, even the message comes to you before you even receive the letter. Now, the person who brought me the letter of appointment came the following day. And when it came the following day, he was like, we have posted you to Tomotomo to see whether you can make it. And what I said is, if God is there, He has gone before me and has cleared the way for me. And again, also, where you are posted, you are new. They don't know what to do with you. They are wondering, here is a small girl. I was very small, by the way. Here is a small girl who is coming here. We don't know what to do with a woman because we have never had a woman minister before. How do we approach her? How are we relating to her? So the first thing you're told is that you're given somebody who is going to hold you by the hand, a woman, not necessarily a man, a woman who can show you how things are done in that parish. So you are not fully trusted that you can be able to manage that parish by your own. And again, or even the women themselves, those were the eras where you are supposed to put on a kitaba or a kofia when you are to cover your head. And so they would come to you and tell you, Mchungaji, the way you are looking. I remember in one parish they told me, Mchungaji, we really appreciate what you have done for us because you have really helped us to improve the parish. Only one thing you have done bad. Then I asked, what have I done now? Our women have not changed. The way they came, they were before you came are now different. And I asked, in what way? All of them have now started showing off their hair. They have started making their hair because you are an example to them that they can remain like that. The girls by then want to buy you that kofias, those nice ones that you can go to and preach. And I refused. I refused. The other thing is they look at you and say, you to me, you are my fifth child. You are my fifth child. So what does that tell you? There's nothing you can tell me. Huh? Another one can't stand tell you, you are the 15th minister in this parish. So nothing new. No change. So that stereotype that women cannot make it, it was there.
All right, maybe just to go to Reverend Mary, we have, let me say, occasions in church where a minister has to oversee. We have weddings, we have baptism, and other things. Will you say women ministers or you as a reverend faced challenges?
To me, I think I came many years later because this is my 12th year in the ministry. So somehow they paved the way for us, for ladies to be accepted.
So you didn't feel
no, to some extent. Like there is a parish that I reported, and the men said, we really don't know how to handle you as a lady minister. And actually, the man who was asked to pray, he prayed, telling God, help us on how to handle our woman minister. And after the end of the day, the one who was my pairing on the previous parish called me aside and asked me, so now what do we do? Like, have you heard the prayer? They have prayed that they don't know how to handle you. And I told him, but one thing we can't do is that I cannot go back with you. So I will continue serving. So in terms of baptism, officiating marriages, and also values, I don't think I have had much issues. But that element of stereotyping women and the attitude to answer lady ministers, it always happens, not only to men, even ladies themselves. At times they don't know, how do I deal with a minister who is a lady? But with the time, according to me, you just give them time to test you. You don't have to prove yourself, who you are and what you can do. You just work, make an impact. Out of that impact, they get to know who is the person on the ground.
Now, talking of impact, Reverend Nancy, how would you say the ministry looks right now? Of course, there were challenges that were faced. Are you enjoying ministry right now?
Yeah, I am enjoying the ministry. Like they have said, there's been a great advantage for those that were there before. That is Nyabura, a farmer at Muthoni. And but you see, it also depends because we enjoy what the way they have paved. They have made a way, and we are really enjoying. though there is one of my parishes, in fact, one parish that I was first posted, my first parish, I experienced some problems because I remember there is a lady who the child was to be baptized and said, no, a woman cannot baptize my kid. And to me, I think I have taught myself to be always positive and to address the negatives with prayer and very carefully, so that, because we also need to know that we are addressing cultures in these particular parishes. And some cultures are very different. Some cultures are common in most of the parishes. And so what I did is I called the lady, because the elder and talked of we baptized the kid, but when it came, he said, no, you can't. So I told the lady, would you know a man minister that you desire to baptize this kid? I'll be joyfully be able to call. Yes, to call, because he can't come to my parish without. And the lady was like, I did not in fact baptize the kid, but he refused. He refused and said, may I go and think about it and I'll come. So there are those challenges, still even now. But one has to be very keen and very careful as you handle them. In a wedding, there is also, I also remember, I don't know, I think it was my second parish, where some people came and wanted to do a wedding. They had stayed together, but because this is a lady and they can be able to manage me, they want me to join it as a holy wedding, a light in the marriage. That they really a girl and a bachelor and that's finished. But I refused. You have to be firm, also you don't compromise. And so what I did, I talked to them all along, but when they refused, at long run, I had to be very firm and said, if this is what you went to the registrar, in fact it's not a very long time, is when they are going to the registrars and coming with the certificate, so that you can use that certificate to write the marriage certificate. So I really refused. And some of the elders were very firm, you are doing this because you are a lady, you don't understand some things, but I stood firm. And I was happy. Some other elders said, that's the work of a minister, you can't do the work of a minister. So the issue is we are enjoying, and we need to keep on, even as we celebrate 40 years. I want to believe the challenges are not over, but we need to keep on the way, so that those that are going to come after us will enjoy more. And as maybe we enjoy the other years and celebrate, they will be happier than us, because these people really met a lot of opposition. But those that are there now is for us to go through and make sure that we conquer, so that we be able to enjoy it together.
Okay, and now being women, definitely there are some of us who are wives, we have sisters, there are some of us who are moms. Reverend Kamau, how would you say a woman or a lady minister now balances between family and ministry? Because you see, for women, it's not like men. It's not like men. Men are the heads of the family. That's how they are seen. Yeah. So maybe you'll respond, and Reverend Mary will also respond to that.
Okay. Thank you very much, my friend. It's quite a good question. In the Bible, Proverbs 31, it teaches us about a woman of a noble character. a woman who really knows how to plan herself, a woman who is programmed. And let me assure you that it is not only in this ordained ministry that women need to plan themselves. Even those who are at home, the ones whom we address as housewives, they must have a program. Even the mama bogas, they must have a program, because we have to balance between work and also the service that we give to the society. And let me tell you, the church is also a society. And this society is looking at us with both eyes widely open. They want to see our success even on the other side. For example, they want to see how our husbands are kept. They want to see how our children and even our homes. By the way, these people, the church, they really want to give the ministers houses and the compound. And when you give them that opportunity, they go around almost to go to garden and even to the cows to see whether you clean the cow shed. And they get surprised because we are able to do all these things. And still, we have to be very, very keen on the church program. And we do not come late, actually. We execute our duties well. And I'm telling you, we celebrate success. And we are celebrated even by that society.
All right, let's just go to Reverend Mary.
Thank you.
Just briefly, because we'll be taking a break in a few.
Yes, thank you. As a working lady, as she said, not only in the ordained ministry, you have to strike the balance between work and family. And us, somehow, people take us like we are like God. You know, even when we are at home, we are ministers. But now, not the. It is not like that. You are, when you are at work, you are the minister. When you get home, you are a wife and a mother. And charity begins at home, and a grandmother, as she says. And therefore, you have to strike the balance. When you are at home, be a good wife, be a good mother, so that when the family releases you to go and minister, that picture of a minister begins at home. And therefore, one has to plan well and also to strike the balance. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for that. We'll be coming in with the discussion even further. But just to read a few of your comments on Facebook, it's quite a discussion and there are so many comments right here. Samuel Kiroro Waan, you say you're watching. Grace Nganga says it's indeed a milestone. To God be the glory. God bless you, Dr. Reverend Nyambura, for setting the pace for these great women of faith and many to come. I want to salute my pastor, Reverend Mary Murioki, Banana Parish. Grace Nganga says hi to you. Penina Wanjiros, you say you're watching. Mugo, you say you're tuned in. Lucy, you're watching. Mungai Moshiri, good interaction. Thank you so much, Moshiri. Shiko, watching from Waithaka Parish. Maurice Moshiri, you say watching from Banana Parish. We celebrate our parish minister, Reverend Mary Morioki. Maureen Warugano Junior, you say watching from Kayole. Elizabeth, thank you so much for tuning in. Rosemary, thank you as well. You're watching from Nyeri. Mary Muradi, watching from Saika, thank you so much for watching. There are so many comments. Victor Njori says, great role models in our generation in Christ, never give up. So I'll keep on just reading your comments. It looks like you don't have questions. You know your minister as well. So we'll keep on reading your comments. Remember, you can still send in your SMS on our SMS number. That is 011-2200-44. Thank you so much for sending in your comments on Facebook. So when we come back, I'll be reading comments from YouTube. But let's take a very short break because the discussion is not yet over. So don't go too far.
Pay for your tithes and offerings PAP using Family Bank's USSD solution for church collection, Kanisa PAP. All you have to do is register and pay. To register, dial code *325 *5#. Accept the terms and conditions. Enter your first and second name. Then your church's 4-digit code and church name. Confirm your registration and you're ready to contribute. To contribute, dial *325 *5#. Select your type of offering. Enter the amount you want to contribute. Once done, confirm the amount. You'll get an M-Pesa PIN prompt. Enter your PIN and you're done. You will receive an SMS confirmation from Family Bank. Isn't that easy? Try Kanisa PAP today.
Choose life that you may love the Lord your God.
If you delight yourself in the Lord, He will make you fruitful in whatever season you are in.
Listen to His voice and hold fast to Him.
That as disciples ourselves, we're being invited to be transformed more fully every single day.
In our walk with God, let us know that we are assured victory in every battle.
For the Lord is your life.
Live a pure life. Are you living a righteous life before the Lord? It is possible. People are wondering, can you do without corruption? Yes, I can stand and say it is possible to do without corruption.
Don't miss season 2 of the evening epilogue every day at 9:30 p.m. only on CAC TV.
Welcome back, dear viewer, and we are very glad that you're still keeping it CAC TV. The Ordained is what we have dubbed our conversation tonight, even as the Presbyterian Church of East Africa marks 40 years since the first woman was ordained. That is in 1982. And thank you so much for all your comments as promised. Let me just go through a few of your comments on YouTube. Alice Ndegwa, you say, watching from Banana Parish. Our Reverend Mary Morioki, such great minister, a woman of God. Well, Winnie Mwangi, you say you are watching. Indeed, Reverend Modoni, you have come a long way. Keep it up. That is from Winnie Mwangi. Sami Modui, tuned in from PCA Banana Hill Church, watching my Reverend Mary Morioki. We salute you and celebrate you with other clergy women. May the Almighty God bless you as you continue serving in His vineyard. Who else? Lucy Mwega, you say you're watching from Ruaka. Thank you so much, Lucy. Pauline Kuruga, watching from PCA Ruaka. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alice Ndegwa, for watching as well. George Cargo, watching from Denderu. Thank you so much, George, for watching. Thank you to all of you. The comments are so many. I'm not so sure I can finish all of them. But if you have any questions as well, feel free to ask. The reverends are very glad and very ready to answer any of your comments. And remember, our SMS number is 0111220044. We are also still coming to you live. If you're just joining us, we are coming to you live on Facebook as well as YouTube. That is CAC TV Kenya. The hashtag to use is 40 years of clergy women in ministry. So I'm glad that we are back. We were just looking at the challenges as well as serving in the ministry. Now to you, Reverend Nancy Shaure just mentioned of how she's still celebrating ministry, and she's still glad to be serving in the ministry. Would you say it's the same for you?
Yes, I want to confirm that because it is true, we are serving and we are enjoying. And let me tell you that unless you are challenged, you cannot move forward. Unless you are challenged, you cannot receive new revelations from God. I want to cite an example that when I was still in my practicum, my mentor delegated to me to conduct the finance meeting, to give devotion, and also to moderate the meeting. And it happened that when I sat on the minister's chair, one of the elders told me, "No, do not use that chair. That is Reverend's chair. You are not yet ordained." I had humbly to wake up from chair and to sit on the other one. But what made me happy is that I conducted the meeting well, I moderated the meeting well, and the meeting ended successfully. And I'm telling you, I don't know who told my mentor what happened in the course of the meeting, because he asked me, "Who is that who told you not to sit on the minister's chair?" I told him, "One of the elders." "How did you feel?" Me, I felt okay, because I'm not ordained. Therefore, the seat that I was given, I sat on it very, very peacefully. I conducted the meeting and I achieved the objective.
So it wasn't a matter of the seat.
Yeah, it was not a matter of the seat, but how you conduct the meeting. And he told me, "Yes, you did it very well." I got comments from the others, and therefore that's what that's why I want to say that in every area you have an objective to achieve. The challenges may come, but God will open another avenue for you, and you see yourself achieving the objectives in the ministry. And that is what we focus to. That's what we look up to. Yes.
All right. Now to you, Rev, let's look at how we've talked of the current. We've also talked of how history looks like in terms of the challenges and what you've achieved as clergy women ministers. So how would you say the future looks like for the clergy women?
I want to believe that future is very bright. And in that, as we celebrate, there before there were very few, and we can see the number is increasing. The last time when they took lady ministers, in fact, I was very happy. I was among the training committee that was going around, and it's like we took 6. So it shows. And there before we were taking maybe 4 men, 1 woman. And so it looks like it is improving in the mind of our counterparts, the men ministers. They are accepting. And so, and the ladies are also accepting. So I can see a field that is open. And ladies need to know, as we celebrate, it's a matter of celebrating and going forward. And going forward to make an impact to the society. It is a place where we say, listeners, no, and then we go forward. And we are being called. Here is not just about a woman, but here is about serving and being felt in the parishes and even in the positions that we are given in the church to serve, and is to devote ourselves. So ahead there is a lot of light. So it's a us to rise up and shine, like Isaiah 61. Rise up and shine, because your light has come. The Lord has brought a light for us. So we wake up, there is a lot of light ahead of us. And in the future, we can see ladies serving. And in fact, not only in the ordained ministry, but also in the church, we know how women support the church in general. So it's us, and not to talk about women or men, is rising up and serving the Lord. But ahead, a lot of light. Thank you.
All right. Now, Reverend Gary, will you say there is light as well in terms of the church leadership?
Yes, there is right at the head of it, not only in the church but also in the society and in the political arena. If you look at the just concluded elections, you can see how many women are in leadership position. So also in the church, I can see us moving far. Because this time, it's like we have been in incubation for the last 40 years. And when you incubate and the egg hatches out, it is the time for the chick to run and grow. So for us now, the 40 years of incubations are over. It is now time for us to go and do what the Lord has called us to do. I believe each one of us as women, if God has called us, we are capable even of holding any office in this church. Yes, we have not been there. We have been flower girls in the papers because every time there is a woman there who becomes a flower girl to decorate the paper. But when it comes to the, as one of our sisters normally tells us, sijasi kasuku, haijai kura. No, haijai kura haijai. It's never filled because nobody gives her the fault. But I am sure we have had women who have held possession of the moderators of the presbytery, the clerk of the presbyteries, chairman in the region, And recently I sat in the moderator of the General Assembly's chair, so we can make it. I've been there, and I'm looking for the generation that is behind me to come and occupy those offices. I'll be celebrating in my old age. I'm a grandmother, but I'll be celebrating when I'm seated down there under the tree eating mangoes to see a woman who is the moderator of the General Assembly. So,
Amen.
Yeah, yes, because the incubation period is over. We have proved we can make it. And if I can be able to be the chairman of a region, how come I cannot be a moderator of the General Assembly? And that is, the moderator of the presbytery is the highest position that one can get. So even if it is the moderator of the General Assembly or the Secretary General, we are equal to the task. Yes.
All right. Now to you, Reverend Mary, now to add on your amen or hallelujah. Let's look at a question that Mungai Moshiri is asking here. What are the challenges facing the church today?
Oh, the challenges that the church is facing are many because we are the same people in the society. When it comes to economic, we are equally hit. All the challenges that are in the society are still in the church. But the good thing is that we know where to run to. We know how to pray. We know how to seek for courage and the way forward, because we know that God is in charge and is in control. There is this age gap, the challenges of the new technology, whereby we have people who are analog, digital, and they are our members. In the church is the only place that you find people who are highly educated, not educated, who are very poor, very rich. So there are many challenges, but now that God has ordained us and has given us that wisdom to shepherd his flock, we are able to overcome every challenge that comes our way.
And just what on that is just we need to realize that we are not living in a vacuum. The same people who are coming to the church are the same people who are out there in the society. And my son wants to be as cool, in quotes, like the other boy in college or in school. They want to imitate and to be like them. So the same people we have in the church are the same people who are outside, because they come from the outside to the church. So the challenges outside there, they also penetrate to the church because they are there and they bring them. So there's no difference. We are just suffering. But the good thing, as he says, we know where to run to when challenges come. When those things come, we know where to run to. Yeah, we have a hiding place.
All right. Now, on that note of just knowing where to hide and where to run to, Rev, we have young ministers. We have those that have just joined the ministry. We also have young girls who yearn to be ministers as well. What would you say is your word to them? Just a word of encouragement. And you can just look into your camera and talk to that young girl or young minister.
My fellow viewers, young girls and young men who have the call to serve God, I want to assure you that, as Paul said in Philippians 4 verse 13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. There is strength for those who trust in the Lord. Come, let us serve God. God has so many avenues for us to run to, and we continue serving. Do not fear. Feel happy to come so that we may serve in this Lord's vineyard. Because, as Jesus said, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. So, there's no way that we shall be defeated. We are more than conquerors. I want to assure you that.
Amen. Now, to you, Rev, as well, we have ministers who, let me say, cleared the path for you, as you mentioned, but unfortunately, they are no longer with us. As the church celebrates 40 years, we are also celebrating them for the impact that they created, not just in church, but also for the servants of God and for other church members. Sure. What will be your word in that regard, as well as just giving hope to their families?
To the families of our late sisters, that we are also mentioning their names as we celebrate, and we were with them yesterday when we were launching the week for the celebration. I want to tell them that they need to know that death comes to ministers, to other people in the society, and one thing is to accept what happened, and as we celebrate them, it's because as church we know death is not the end of our journey, but is a door opening us to go to be with the Lord. And so they need one to accept, but we also pray that the Lord may help them as they serve in their various places where the Lord has called them. It is important at God's own time, because coming in the ordained ministry is God who calls, and there are many people that are called, both the women and the men, young people. So those families need to celebrate their mothers, their aunties, those that passed on. Somebody like a farmer Kenya that passed on just the other day, Reverend Margaret, who passed on even before ordained. She was licensed, and even the late Reverend Mika. Just to feel that their families need to accept what the Lord did, but not to stop there, not to feel that God was unfair. God knew why He took them. There is something they did that is helping us, and especially our farmer, Kasodas. Big things that they did. They helped some of us, and they took us and made us be courageous. Told us, like our reference has said, that I can do all things through Him who strengthens me. Challenges were there, they stood. So families, I would want to tell you that to take courage, know the Lord has not left you. One day the Lord might call maybe even one of the members to be a referent, like in the family of the late Jane Kashoda, we have Reverend Kamau, who is serving very well. So we believe he can. But even if it's not in the ministry, because there has to be a call, even if it's not in the holy ministry, one has to serve. in the church or in a place where the Lord has called you. Because we need to know that God can call you. Like you are called to be in the media. And you are really reaching many. You are inspiring many. So it's not only in the ordained ministry. Where the Lord calls the members of the family needs to serve faithfully, and the Lord is faithful. You'll never disappoint them.
Amen to that. And just to read some of your comments as well, we have Joyce Kamau. She says, congratulations ladies on your 40-year celebration. Since the First Lady Reverend was ordained, your service is ever felt as leaders and strong pillars in our church and society at large. The glass ceiling is broken. Go forward.
Amen.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Joyce, for that. It's so touching. Tugi Waidagu says, watching from Red Hill Parish. Thank you, Reverend Nancy, for being a good mentor. To Reverend Mary, you are awesome. That is Tugi Waidagu. Who else? Alex, you say you're watching from Kitengela. Manu Kimani says, watching from Banana Parish. Very powerful talk. Thank you so much, Manu. Jacob Karaoke says, tuned from Laikipia County. Be blessed abundantly. Ellie Joy Happy says, tuned. She's asking from your phone numbers. Probably you can find them on social media. I mean, it's a digital world. So I think you can definitely find them on social media. Remember, we have dubbed our conversation tonight as the ordained, even as the church marks 40 years since the first woman minister was ordained. That is Reverend Dr. Nyambura Njoroge. That is in 1982. So talking of the first minister, this will be directed to you, Reverend Gary, since I say probably just came a few years after her.
Yeah.
What will be your word to her? Yeah, and what are some of the things that probably you learned from her, either directly or indirectly?
Oh, I just want to say thank you to Nyambura for taking that bold step, because it's a step that needed faith. You know, it's the way you just say, this is, I'm not walking by sight, but by faith. And since I came to know her personally as Nyambura now, the person Nyambura, she has been my mentor. And I can attribute most of my success to her. And also most of my education is through her. And she also, she also opened the ecumenical world to me. So I can say I've been riding on her back, and she has inspired me. I've read most of, almost, I get it's the only last book I have not read her book. And anytime I read any article or any book she has written, I read it with her voice. I read it with her voice. So she has really encouraged me in my ministry, and she has been very instrumental in my ministry, wanting to know how are you doing, where are you, what are the challenges, how can I help. So she has been my mentor, and I want to thank her so much for that. Even as we celebrate the 40 years, we are celebrating in mind knowing that she is at the focal point of our celebration, because she was the first one to get into the incubation. Now here we are. The many as of about 100 of us, we are there because of her. So we want to thank her for taking the bull by the horn, and she made the way for us. It was not easy, but she did it for us. So just to thank her and to encourage her to continue mentoring others, not only us who are now grown-ups, but the others that are coming up, just for her to continue mentoring them and giving them advice and directing them on the right way to go. Yes.
Right. And now to you, Reverend Morioki. Maybe just before you share your final words, how would you say you serve differently as a minister? You just mentioned of how hard it is to maybe penetrate in the digital world. How would you say you serve differently? We have those that are maybe, we have children, we have those that are living with different abilities. We have just those special groups in the society. We have the orphans, we have those that are widowed. How would you say you serve differently just to ensure that you reach upon each and every person in the society? Or how should we serve differently?
Okay. We are called to serve, not to be served. So one of the things that everyone should understand is that we are out to give services to all without discrimination. And God who calls equips. And therefore, He is able to give us the knowledge on how to address every group according to its uniqueness. Because when you are dealing with elderly people, it's not the same way you deal with young people. When you are dealing with married people, it's not the same way you deal with the singles and widows and widowers. Of importance is to understand every group and know the needs related to that group. And for example, if you have a group of men, it's good to address issues concerning men by giving seminars on how to equip men, on how to equip the youth, the women. You deal with each group with its own uniqueness. And in the times that we are living, I think teachings are doing better than just preaching. So, whereby you have a topic concerning a certain issue and a certain group, you teach them to empower them. Because if you just preach, you can preach and preach and preach. And at the end of the day, people will say that we had a very wonderful preaching. And when you ask them, what were you taught? They have nothing to say. So, teaching groups according to their uniqueness. So, it is not necessarily on the church service. What we do is that you organize for seminars. Some are breakfast, others are lunch, and even dinner. You have to move with the times that we are in. If it is a Valentine Day, it is not necessary to do what the secular world is doing, but you can bring people together and have a dinner with a message relating with the family issues, so that at least you can move with the people and the time that you are in. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Rev. Before we share our final words, because we have very few minutes to go, let me just read some of your comments on YouTube. Ndomo Gaduo says, awesome. I humbly celebrate you all, our spiritual women ministers. Special thanks goes to Reverend Nancy Kamau, watching from Red Hill Parish. We have George Waidabu, great words of inspiration from the guests. Keep up the good work. Joyce Kimani says she's watching from Ruaka Church. I celebrate the clergy women and more so our very own Reverend Mary Morioki. God bless you. We have John Mark says he's watching from Red Hill. Gillian Maura watching from Red Hill as well. Lucy Ireri, she says watching from Nyeri Presbytery, PCA Imani, Kingongo Parish. Say to my mom, Reverend Nancy Shaure, blessings, blessings for allowing God to make servants in his vineyard. Kainyu Njage, it's a question now. Do you think women are more effective in ministering compared to men because they are known to nurture?
Hallelujah.
That's a tricky one. Yes, women are inherently born to nurture. They are co-creators with God. Because once they bring a child to the world, they nurture that child to be that big man that you see up there. And I believe even in the church, we are more nurturers than the men can be. We are more tolerant, not to sin, not to do the wrong thing, but at least you understand this young man who comes to you and tell you, Percy, I'm sorry what I did. What did you do? I impregnated a girl. So you are able to deal. You are able to deal with that young man from that perspective as your son. Instead of condemning him, you start walking the journey with him. There is that mother who will come crying. I was beaten last night. As a woman, you feel with that woman who has been beaten by the husband, and you'll be able to console with her, to cry with her. To be honest, sometimes we do cry. Yes, we do cry with them when they come to you and they are crying. There's no point that you can just be there and just make yourself the woman that you are, the big boss that you are, and you don't cry with them. We do cry with them. Even with men, they come to you and tell them the way that their wives are mistreating them. There's someone who came and told me, I bought a rope. I bought dawa ya kujinyonga. It is there and I'm keeping it. And I told her never to touch that kamba and not to, yes. You now walk that journey with that man. So, and if it was another man, you would tell him, why are you allowing your wife to do this to you? You know, but shame on you. Why do you allow it to happen to you? Didn't you give dowry for her? She shouldn't be doing this to you. But as a woman, you'll be able to talk to that man in a voice or in a way that you feel, yes, I'm accepted. This is like my mother, whom I would grant to and listen to me.
All right. Sorry to cut you short,
It's okay.
but maybe Reverend Kamau, as we wind up, as all of us prepare as well for their parting shot, what will be your last word? So I'm giving each and every person 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much, my friend. I want to thank God because of giving us this opportunity that we have been in a position to express to the whole world what it means to be a woman minister and what it means for God to call someone to serve him. And I want to conclude by saying that both men and women, we have one caller who is God. It's God who calls men, it's God who calls women. It's God who sustains them. And let me say that we are all called to nurture. Men, they are the ones who plant seed in the God's vineyard. So they are responsible for the growth and the development of that child. They are also responsible for the wives. The wife nurtures the womb and brings forth the child. She also has a responsibility. And these responsibilities do not prevent one from being called by God and to serve faithfully and honestly. So I would like to say that God calls all of us. He calls men and women to serve him, and he glorifies himself through men and women service.
Amen.
Yes.
Reverend Nancy, your last words.
I'm very grateful to be here, and especially this time of celebration. And I want to believe that the Lord is reminding us, the Presbyterian Church, that we have a great work to do for him in the vineyard as we nurture the very young so that they can be able to realize their call, to serve God, a call to serve God, because it's God who calls. And also as we serve as ministers, that is both men and women, because I believe that this celebration is for the whole church. We are celebrating as women. We are being celebrated by the church, and the church is celebrating as a whole. And as we do that, we are also calling upon the young girls, the young boys, as they hear their call. They need to nurture that. They need to let it grow until the time that it comes to be. As we serve, let's also remember that we have families. There is a lot to sacrifice as women and men, because we are called of the Lord to serve the church and also to serve our families. There are many challenges, especially in serving the Lord, but we need to know that there is always a cost. Jesus Christ sacrificed until he gave his own body for service, for us to be saved. Let us also sacrifice for the service that the Lord has called us. When one is called, should not hide the call, should not hide, should not feel like I'm not equipped, I'm not ready. Come, Presbyterian Church usually equip people by taking them to school and educating them, bringing them up so that they can be up to the standard of serving.
Right.
Thank you.
So much. Reverend Mary, to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I celebrate all my fellow lady ministers and men as well, and my church, Presbyterian Church of East Africa, for giving us such an opportunity to serve the humankind. I cannot fail to appreciate all those who have mentored me to be what I am today, starting from those who taught me in church school, back in Nyeri, Morigato, and also where I'm married, Kiamwangi Parish and Katondo, where the presbytery that sent me to school. I also appreciate the parishes that I have served, starting from Rugai, Naivasha East, Kayore, and now Banana, because in the ministry is the high school where we are trained more than in class. They have all taught me to be what I am, and I continue learning, encouraging everyone that God who has called us has promised to go ahead of us, to level all the mountains and break all the doors of bronze that may stand before us, and also to give us those treasures that are hidden in dark places. It is God who gives us knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So let us keep on playing and remain united so that God may take us to higher levels of serving Him better.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting us to be part of this noble cause, to celebrate with the church as they celebrate the 40 years. And I just want to say that when God called us, it is good to know that God had looked, searched, and identified the vessels that He wants to use. So as long as we allow God to use us as His own vessels, not to please anybody, but to please God alone, we will go far. I'm in my last lap. I'm in my last lap. And I can say, God, if we have been able to go and to run the race to where we are, those that are watching us and cheering us, even the squad on the TV right now, I just want to encourage those that feel they are called to come and join this noble cause and allow God to use them. And as my sisters are saying, it's a sacrifice also to your family. They are used to being without you. If they are used to, you find them asleep. You find the children looking at the window for you to come home. And those are some of the challenges that we face. But all in all, if God is for us, who can be against us? So, welcome our sisters and brothers. Let us join hands and work for the kingdom.
Amen. Thank you so much. 30 seconds.
Yes. I want to believe all of us are grateful as we celebrate 40 years. We are happy because of the business committee that allowed us to celebrate. We are grateful because of the moderator of the General Assembly, the Secretary General that have been sending letters, the DSG who has also been working, and the committee that was chosen to plan for this celebration. So the four of us will say thank you.
Indeed, we wouldn't have ended the conversation without thanking you. Thank you so much, Reverend Shauro, for that. Thank you, Reverend Mary Murioki. Thank you so much, Reverend Muthoni Ngare. Thank you, Reverend Nancy Kamau, for sharing with us. And congratulations as you mark 40 years.
Thank you.
All right. So our conversation tonight was dubbed the Ordained, even as the church celebrates 40 years since the first clergy woman was ordained into ministry, that is in 1982. Thank you so much for all your comments. There are too many. We are not able to read all of them. You have quite a following. Well, so thank you so much for tuning in. In case you're just joining us, I'll say that was quite a great discussion. Remember, we were also coming to you live on Facebook as well as YouTube. So if you're just joining us, that is a conversation that you can find right there. Thank you so much for keeping us company. My name is Aida Munzati, and thank you to each and every person that made this broadcast a success. We are wishing you a blessed and happy night.
Thank you. Thank you.